What's up, Juggalos and Juggalettes? This is Juggalotus with Figalovers.net coming at you today with part 4 in our series for the Rasslerap Charity Tour interview series with JCW legends, wrestlers, everything else. Today, we have the man, the myth himself, none other than Kevin Gill, Mr. KG, the commentator. What's up, man? How you doing?
What up, though? It's an honor to be back on Fagel Lovers, man. One of my favorite sites on the internet, and a long-time, long-running underground supporter of underground music and the Psychopathic Family and JCW. So much love to you for having us, and to everyone at Fagel Lovers and everyone who reads Fagel Lovers and clicks on Fagel Lovers. And you know what? What if you don't post in the message boards? I've heard it said that if you don't post in those boards, that you don't matter. But that is purely speculatory. Please don't make any hateful videos of you driving a truck and yelling about me because I said you don't matter. I'm just making jokes, motherfucker.
There you go. If you don't post, you don't matter. You heard it here first.
It's official. Put it on a shirt.
It's official. It's coming from KG, so it's got to be, right? Anyway, man, you know, when it came to you and what you do on JCW as a commentator and the ref, longtime ref, and then now commentating, you know, I didn't know a whole lot about your background, and I'm not sure how many of the family know your background as extensively as I do now. So I wanted to touch on that.
You are like a super ninja of research. Not
I
to
do.
cut you off, but your research skills are not to be fucked with.
They are not. I do my best to just pull out some shit that you're like, dude, that's been 40 years. I have no clue. Wow. But you started out in gaming. I didn't know that. I didn't know projects you'd worked on, such as, you know, the Saints Row project, Grand Theft Auto, things of that nature. What got you into that background initially?
Well, you know, I grew up at the right time in terms of video games and all that stuff started coming out in my lifetime. You know what I mean? So I was a little kid and I would see arcade machines and play them and be like, man, this is like some new revolutionary shit, you know? Right. And I was always into music, video games, and wrestling, with a smattering of really liking girls. Those were like the things of my life, you know, from a very young age. And I was just really into it. And at the time there was like one video game magazine that used to come out. I used to get that religiously. And I was all about video games, but to me, video games was like a secret world because then you didn't know anyone who worked in the industry. It was all, to me, like a secret in a way. Like, man, this is like some magical shit.
Right.
And I was involved in this scene called the New York hardcore scene, which was like a underground music community and scene out of New York. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up listening to bands like Sick of It All and Murphy's Law, Gorilla Biscuits, Agnostic Front. And because I'm from New York City, then I also loved hip hop and all this. It's the melting pot, you know. But I was really into underground hardcore shit. And I was into it so much that I started meeting, you know, while I was seeing all the big-time bands like Murphy's Law and Leeway and all the bands I mentioned, I started meeting all the up-and-comers and people that just had bands and were trying to get shows. And I met some great guys in a band called Without a Cause up in the Upper East Side, or some would say, like, whatever, the tip of Harlem or whatever. Right. I met those dudes, and they were like the first people I ever became friends with that were, like, in a band, you know? And I started trying to help them get gigs and things, and that led to me getting involved in putting out their first record. And then me and this guy Udo from Germany put together a record label called SFT. We're Striving for Togetherness Records, and we did 19 New York hardcore fucking records, everyone from 25 to Life, Vision of Disorder, No Redeeming Social Value, all this shit. But I was super Mr. fucking hardcore. But I loved wrestling, so wrestling was like my outlet, you know. And I used to use wrestling imagery in my ads, so I'm selling crazy hardcore records, but like there'd be a picture of Randy Savage jumping off the top rope in my ad, you know, like just weird shit that I liked, but I don't know who else did. But
right.
The point is, shit started to get so popular, we started doing like a newsletter, and the newsletter grew from, you know, a sheet of paper to like I think the final one we did was something like 100 and something pages. Like, it was just ridiculous. Wow. It became a magazine. So I was like, man, I should just put out a magazine. So I had an idea to do a magazine that would cover music, video games, and wrestling. And so this photographer I was working with on the hardcore stuff named Jenny Torpy, me and her were talking about it, and she was going to be the photographer for it. And we had a meeting, and Grand Theft Auto, the original one that, you know, looks like an old school arcade game.
Right.
That shit came out. It just came out, and I got it while I was with her because I've been waiting for it. And we started talking about, man, we got to find people from the video game industry and da-da-da. And through the weirdest series of events. That night she went to a bar in New York. Some dude struck up a conversation with her, and that was the guy who started Rockstar Games, Sam Hauser. So she was like, hey, you got to do an interview with my friend. And he's like, okay, basically. So it ended up being, crazily, I wrote an interview, and Jen went and did the interview with Sam. And I got it published in a magazine called Cord. It was either called Cord Magazine or All That Magazine out of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And that was the first piece of PR, the first article, the first interview, the first anything ever published about Rockstar Games, and the first interview ever granted by the guy who now the world knows is like this super genius that never gives interviews, never does anything. Right. So from that, they started dating, and then Sam and Jen and me and my girl all went out to dinner. And it turns out, even though Sam was a dude from England, he used to fly over to New York and go to the New York hardcore matinees at CBGB's. So we had this so he'd be like, oh, it's fucking genius, man. Like, tell me more sick of it all story. It's like, he was fascinated with that I was down with this underground shit.
Right.
And I was fascinated that he worked in video games. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and then the wrestling shit. And basically we became homies. And he would want me to tell him all these stories about what I was doing and what records I had coming out and all this. And then he called me up and was like, come and work for me. You know, this is it. Let's fucking make this happen. And then, like, maybe 4 or 5 months later, a press release went out that said a company called Rockstar Games has been formed and is starting. So I was one of the original couple of people to work there. And I'm always grateful to Sam and everyone at Rockstar because I was putting out all these records in the underground, and it's not easy. And a lot of times you'd put on a band that was nobody. They were super talented, though. They would start to blow up really big. And then, like, maybe the people who were your friends weren't your friends anymore. And I just loved music and doing the right thing. And, you know, so basically I was getting burned out because I thought the label should have been bigger for all the bands that were blowing up off it and all the stuff that was happening. So video games to me was like a beautiful opportunity. And I felt like the love from the video game industry was more than the love from the music industry, because the music industry would just try to steal my ideas, steal my bands, and then offer me deals like I was a fucking idiot, like a deal that a fucking ice cream man wouldn't take with a record label. Like, never mind the guy who knows how to put out records. So
right.
I feel like Sam Hauser and the guys at Rockstar Games, they validated what I'd been doing for the last 6 or 8 years, putting out records. And they basically put me on in the gaming industry. And from there, I got to do marketing for all these Rockstar Games and on and on. But that's how it all started. And that's like the real deal cut of a story. You know what I mean? That's legit what happened. It was only because I was putting tangible stuff out into the world. I was putting out records. Every record had merchandise. Every record had ads, ad campaigns, pre-orders. There was worldwide awareness. There was a website in days when, like 95 and 96, when it wasn't very common for companies to have websites and web presence. It was basically grinding forever on the underground proved my skills on a bigger level. And those guys then suddenly, instead of working on an ad for Maximum Rock and Roll or In Effect magazine, I was putting together a TV commercial starring Kevin Nash for Rockstar Games, and then deciding what TV channels it airs on, and going down to Atlanta and producing the commercial with Jamie King, and just stuff like that. It was unfathomable that it happened that way, and those guys saw my abilities and saw something in me, but they did something no one else would do, which was give me an opportunity. And to be honest, from then on, I stayed on the video game shit. I would do occasional little projects in underground music. And the next time in my life, and the only time in my life, that anything like that ever happened again was when I met the ICP guys, and we can get into that. But I feel everything I said about Rockstar Games is everything I say about ICP, because what Rockstar Games did in validating my underground work, as marketing, branding, all this stuff that I specialized in, ICP, Joe and Joey, Violent J and Cherry Tudo, saw something in me as a charismatic performer, as someone who could be a referee, as someone who could be a commentator. They put me on in wrestling and television and movies. I'd been in documentaries before, but never in like a movie like that. Those guys saw something in me that they didn't have to see, and even if they saw it, they didn't have to act on it. But friendship and everything, you know what I'm saying? It's just bananas. So I always like to, if I'm going to speak that fondly of Rockstar, I just wanted to put it all in context to the two biggest forces in my life, or the two biggest impacts that have been on my life, has been originally with the guys from Rockstar giving me an opportunity, and then the guys from ICP giving me an opportunity to kind of go in a different direction. You know what I mean?
Definitely. That's quite a story, man. I didn't realize it was so deep.
I'm sorry, man, and I love
no,
to talk.
You're good. You're good, man. Sticking with gaming and entertainment, since I know you have a huge background in that. I grew up in Colorado. 1999, of course, we had the Columbine issue in Colorado.
Sure.
Movies were blamed for that. Other acts of violence have been blamed on video games. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man. Well, brother, I mean, I could talk the whole rest of the interview just about that.
Short form it.
Okay, in short form, hey, there's damaged people in the world. There's people that are troubled. There's people that have mental deficiencies. There's also an incredible amount, if I may speak freely, of religious zealotry, or whatever you want to call it. In other words, if there's something out there that you believe in, whether it's the fucking the cupcake in your refrigerator, or a magic man in the sky who tells you what to do, or somewhere in between, maybe it's a fucking seal that is giving you all the insight in life. If it makes you feel better, if it makes you be a better person and be kind and whatever, then more power fucking to you. I respect your belief. Right. If any part of your belief system makes you want to kill people, kill your fucking self. You know what I mean? Like, because you're just getting worked. But to dial that in specifically, video games, I believe blaming anything. I believe blaming any form of entertainment is the laziest, most bullshit fucking. Because here's why, right? Video games are entertainment. Look at what's in a video game. Look at the most controversial video game of all time, Grand Theft Auto, which is also the highest selling video game of all fucking time, the series. And look at the sexual content and the violent content of that game, those aspects, and the attention that it got. But when you really look at it, how violent was it? How sexual was it? There was violence present. There was sex present. But when you look at the overall picture and the graphic nature of that content, it's strong, but it's certainly not shocking. Compare that to any fucking horror film made by subsidiaries of Disney, as New Line Cinema, and other major companies, where in the horror game, Saw, for example, these companies are making so much fucking money, and they're disemboweling people, they're pulling out people's innards, you know what I'm saying? They're doing hyper violent, disturbing, graphic shit. And no one says anything about that. So to me, I don't watch any of that shit, because to me, it's like I can't stomach it. It's disturbing. I don't want to think about people being ripped apart. That to me is a nightmare. That's like something you can never unsee, even if it's fake. You know what I mean? So video games are entertainment. There's always going to be people that are fucked up in the world, but the real causes of the problems in the world are never looked at. It's the same reason the comic book industry, think of how laughable that is today. The motherfucking comic book industry was put on trial by the fucking United States government because comics were going to turn people communist or, say satanic. Stuff that's, how stupid does that sound? And today you have Disney owning Marvel or Star Wars or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Every corporation's making money off this stuff, and now it's cool. But if people thought about that now, like, really? Comic books were on trial Heavy metal was on trial for killing people.
Right.
Columbine, as you said, tied video games and all that. So I feel that we live in a world where you can't make everything in the world be homogenized and have no edge to it and have no heat on it, because what about the fucking children? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I believe that books, video games, music, art, movies, whatever the fuck people want to make, whatever their creative vision is, that's their vision. If
Right.
it's not for you, don't watch it. If it's not acceptable for kids, that's up to parents. You know what I mean? That's not up to the people who make the content. So, and if you wanted to very briefly look at it from a numbers game, how many fucking PlayStations are there? And not just the 4. Go back, the PlayStation 4. How many people still play with the PlayStation 3? There's Xboxes. There's all the handheld shit.
Yep.
Think of how many people are playing video games, and then how is it that 800 billion people or whatever are playing shooters like Call of Duty, but only 4 guys in Columbine, that plus Marilyn Manson and ICP, made them go shoot people? Do you know what I mean? It's fucking
Right.
ludicrous.
It is.
Same way, 2 kids that listen to Judas Priest. Oh, the Judas Priest music made them do it.
Right.
It's just it's silly. You know what I'm saying? I believe there's real issues in the world to look at. Entertainment is an escape, and obviously, if you're thinking about killing people, you should get professional help. And if you continually want to kill people or kill lots of people, I think the first person you should kill is yourself. And then you can get the word directly from whatever God you believe in. He can
Right.
give you the full scoop right there. And maybe send a whole army of souls down, whatever
Right.
they want to do. But I just think it's wrong. I was involved in video games that had a lot of controversy. I got threatening phone calls from I got threatening phone calls, comma. I also got vaguely threatening phone calls from people involved in the law enforcement field. I got angry phone calls from government offices and agencies and elected officials. And I think it's ridiculous that people spend any effort hating on whether it's the lyric of a song, the content of a video game, whatever, when we have so many real, tangible issues in the world that are literally killing people every fucking day. And that's not just in terms of mass shootings, it's right on down to nutrition. But I apologize. I digress.
No. Man, you are fine. I actually enjoyed hearing what you had to say. I know that you're vegetarian, so that's, part of the nutrition aspect, and that's cool, man. On the same
Sure, man.
On the same note of your past in wrestling, I take it you grew up in the Attitude Era of wrestling.
I was there for it. I was there for it for sure. I've seen other eras too,
Right, and I grew up in the 80s and the 90s and so on. The current product WWE is putting out versus the Attitude Era, where would you rather be?
Attitude Era.
Definitely.
And if we were able to write it any way we want, or if we're just making wishes and anything could happen,
definitely.
I would want to be in the Attitude Era with an NXT system happening underneath it.
Yes, for sure. I think the NXT is one of the best things that's happened to wrestling in a long time. That farm system thing, it's definitely, where you see a lot of divas coming up. And, I wanted to get your take on that as well. We've seen the progression of women in wrestling from ring candy of, Miss Elizabeth and Macho to the Chynas, who were just brutes, to the Trish Stratuses, to the Litas. And now we have this generation of divas that can wrestle and actually wrestle. What do you think about the progression of women in the sport itself, and how far do you see that going in, the bigger markets?
Well, I think it's a very interesting story because women in wrestling for a very long time, I feel like they've been two things. They've been something that's been underlooked and sometimes disrespected, but they've also been very high in the ratings. They've also been very capturing the imagination of fans. And I don't even mean just right now. You can go back to earlier times where the right place, the right time, the right performer, and people break through. So I think it's amazing and positive to see. It sounds so revolutionary, right? the people who are the very, very, very best performers get to perform on the biggest stage, as opposed to the people who look the best. It's like the music industry when it was about the music.
Right.
That's what I feel like this new era of women's wrestling is. I do think that NXT gets it better than the main WWE product does somehow, which is something, Mick Foley and many people have talked about. And there is some kind of a disconnect between when you watch NXT. Like, in other words, what if NXT was, I know obviously there's many reasons why this can't happen, but I'm saying hypothetically, imagine if Raw for 1 week was just laid out exactly like an NXT show. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think people would like it. You know what I mean? I think there's certain formats and certain ideologies that people are married to, so to speak, and it doesn't allow the full the full potential of things to be reached. Like things, whether call it a glass ceiling, call it a brass ring, whatever.
Right.
But what I want to see is the female performer. Like, for me personally, I don't know. Having everybody be in a group doesn't make anyone unique.
Right.
And again, that it sounds like you could say, well, that's a smart-ass remark, or you could say that's insightful, or whatever. But if you just think about it, one of the problems before used to be like, hey, everybody, it's time for the random 16-girl diva match or the 8-diva tag, or where they just kind of throw something together. And now it's a new era, a new time, talent overlook. It's substance. It's all this. But then they just change it to, okay, everybody is in a faction. And I get it at a certain time in a certain place, but when things just become permanent, it's kind of, I don't know, I think it hurts performers like Sasha Banks and other people because they don't get a chance to perform. Like, it's all about being a single performer, so to speak, unless you're part of a tag. So unless you're one of those two things, and I guess the logic is, well, they're getting valuable exposure to the audience. But when you think about it, in any time when you watched wrestling, when a new star came on the scene, they weren't now sometimes a lower tier person breaks out, of course.
Right.
But when a star is introduced into the environment, they're introduced like they're a star. They're not introduced as a bit player in a team that's one of 4 identical teams that gets one or two match. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that it doesn't give them their platform, give them their springboard. This should be their jump off. It's like a big swan dive into a giant pond of infinite possibilities, but then it's like no jumping off the diving board. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I think,
I respect it. I love it. I think it's a positive thing that it's come as far as it has, and I just really hope that it can go to the next level as far as I don't even know what the word is, but you know what I mean? Like, I just want to see it reach its full potential. I have so much respect for ladies in wrestling because I feel like regular male wrestlers have it hard enough. But being a female wrestler has got to be the fucking hardest thing there is. So for a myriad of reasons, and politics and society, and hey, you and me driving down the road and stopping at a gas station at 4 o'clock in the morning, we're good. But 3 girls that are straight from the pages of a magazine or a fashion shoot, you know what I'm trying to say? These like stunningly gorgeous women are also just out there on the same roads and everything else that comes with it. So I think it's a positive thing, and I think they have a lot of great performers there, and I hope it just reaches its full potential and it doesn't just stay kind of simmering. I want to see kind of the heat and the focus turned up on it.
Right. I want to see it blow up a little bit. I think, for me, seeing Paige kind of step away from her group and become her own entity again, because when she came in, she was very solo,
Correct. And she came in like a star and won the title on her first day. Right. That was, to give credit, that's A Star Is Born.
Right. But I think that was the one that they got right. Even the Bellas came in as a duo.
But that's great. But that's their unique thing. They are a duo. That I get. And even if they want to add someone to their duo and make it a trio with Alicia Fox, great. I get it that the our girls who were with the Usos, the Funkadactyls, the former not Funkadactyls, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mixing it all up, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So some people are a team. Some people are singles. That's all good. But just the weird 3-girl faction and every girl has a faction, to me, that's like a 1 or 2 week thing to set up some big match for one show and then move on.
Right,
You know?
and I'm 100% with you on that. Now, sliding over to the other big part of your game, the Kevin Gill Show. Pushes positivity, pushes a lot of good things. Of course, you interview wrestlers and also musicians, other performers. What can you tell the audience who may not have ever tuned into the Kevin Gill Show what they're missing out on?
Well, I appreciate that, man. The Kevin Gill Show is a weekly, you can call it an interview series, you can call it a conversation, but the difference between it and many other forms of audio entertainment, of podcasts, whatever, even this great interview you're listening to right now, which is conducted over the phone, everything I do is in person. I sit down with the person that I'm interviewing in person. We hold microphones in our hand, and we talk. We do this conversation. We do this interview. So it's to sit down with Violent J, to sit down with Mick Foley, to sit down with Scott Hall or Sean Waltman or Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Greg the Hammer Valentine. You know, I could go on and on and on with all these amazing guests, and to have this like a conversation between friends, you know what I mean, and with pure audio quality, and it's like you're there, and it's different from a regular interview because it's like it's a conversation. Like we get to different things and we find out how people feel about stuff, but the reality of it is the focus is people who are positive, people who are mental, and people who have attitude, you know, PMA. So it's hearing those people's stories and the hope that whether it's someone like Zach Gowen or Drake Younger or Scott Hall who had issues with substance abuse and things of that nature, and that's it's like a battle you have to fight every day, and how they're dealing with it, how they got to that point, how they're getting over it. You know, whether it's people, how they made it in the music game or what they had to overcome, or, you know, jokes like what's popping right now. You know what I mean? To me, I try to make it, it's entertainment, period. But within that, if you could hear someone that you really look up to, story of their rise or what they recommend or the struggles they deal with and how they try to get over it, my hope is that all that knowledge then, instead of just being shared on a car ride or in a dressing room or in a hotel room, is now shared with the world. Everybody gets to get this moment in time, this hour in time, you know, that lives forever, and anybody can listen to it. You know, people, the number one thing I get is, shit, Ninja, I don't have an iPhone. Like, you don't need a motherfucking iPhone. If you're hearing me right now, you can be listening to my show, KevinGillShow.com. You can download or stream to anything that connects to the internet, you know what I'm saying, which includes fucking Roku, just literally anything. You type it in, it's fucking there.
Right.
And you know, your phone, all that shit. So iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, it all goes down. So it's guests from music, wrestling, and it's totally just something, you know, DIY. It's just me. You know, we have some real underground sponsors, which I appreciate the world out of. We have a Patreon page at patreon.com/Kevin Gill, where, hey, if people are like, shit, I get 4 of these great episodes a month, instead of KG charging a subscription and depriving the whole world of this shit, maybe I'll throw in $1 a month. That's $0.25 an episode, you know what I mean? Or whatever, throw in a little bit more. You can get a shirt or you get different premiums and different things. Yep. It's just ways to support, because by doing it in person, sometimes I got to rent a car to drive to where people are. Sometimes I might fly somewhere and then bang out 4 interviews, you know. But it's all about paying it forward. Like, for me, it's totally a labor of love. I hope someday I could be as large as Colt Cabana or Psychopathic Radio and have like a dope studio and have all kinds of shit popping. But I'm just trying to make my name and blaze my trail. And I'm very lucky to people like Colt Cabana, Marty DeRosa, Insane Clown Posse, you know, who I all got to, you know, either work with or watch their rise in audio-related, you know, industries. And it's just the shit. So guys like that who were very helpful to me in trying to get my own thing started and incredibly supportive. And that's the other thing, if I could touch on it, is simply that support is literally the easiest thing that you could give in this modern era. If there's a podcast, a shirt, a band you like, literally retweet their fucking shit. And in this case, retweet my fucking shit. It's literally that easy. You share someone's Facebook status. Suddenly, all your friends know that the Rasslerap Charity Festival Tour is coming to their town. Where they know, holy shit, fucking Bailey from NXT is on the Kevin Gill show this week, and Finn Balor, the NXT World Champion, is on next week. Shit, I wouldn't have known that if Ninja A didn't share it. And people are stingy with their shit, so I'm just putting it out there, Ninjas. I'm calling you out. If you don't share, if you don't retweet, you don't matter!
Damn right, man. I know I was following your Twitter, and you do a lot of Follow Fridays where you shout out to other people, and, you know, you share out theirs and they share out yours. And, you know, social networking is a great tool, but I agree with you. A lot of people are stingy, and, you know, it's good to see you paying that forward on that aspect as well.
And the thing is, it's like, you don't, I'm not saying if you just retweet everything you fucking see, no one wants to read your shit.
Right.
But when there's people out there that you know are doing something positive, or you know have a cool thing going on, just spread the word. And literally, think about it. Every time you do it, the person, in this case me, who's fucking trying to do something, they're like, oh, that's what's up. Oh, wow, MVP just retweeted my shit. Oh, wow, Samoa Joe just retweeted my shit. Paul fucking Heyman just retweeted my shit.
Right.
Corey Graves, ICP. But my homie from down the street, or fucking homie who listens to my podcast every week, he can't retweet it, but fucking Samoa Joe can? That's like, in other words, that's it. One, it lets me know that, man, I must be doing something good if these people who are players and fucking icons of industries are given a little bit of a, hey, KG, we see you. You know what I mean? That means the world. That's what makes me keep going. But whether it's Samoa Joe or fucking Sandy from Colorado, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's all love and all paying it forward. So whatever you believe in, man, your favorite artists, your favorite tours, support it. It's never been easier, man. Everybody's a digital street team if you want to be.
Oh, definitely. Now, getting back to the interview series itself here, JCW Charity Tour going out, the Rasslerap Charity Tour. You guys announced on Psychopathic Radio last night a whole gamut of new things. Go ahead and cover those really quick so that we can get them out there on our channels as well. Who'd you add? Anybody Killer got his own set. Violent J is doing a solo set with Jump Steady as his hype man. Hoodoo's got a set. DJ Clay's going to be there. What else am I missing?
Sorry, here my phone just fucking shut off. I had the little list pulled up. Here we go. I might say a few of them again, but I'm just going to break it down like this. Very first off, your special guest ring announcer for the night of JCW matches is the one and only Sugar Slam.
Sugar Slam.
Throwing down the live beats and cutting it up all night, and for all the wrestling ring music, is the one and only legendary DJ Clay. And, of course, all the stars in JCW, the Weed Man, Too Tough Tony, the Ring Riders, Congo Kong, Pondo and Mary, Super Strong Tiger and the Spider Monkey, Mosh Pit Mike. I mean, there's a whole crew. Samantha Heights, Shane Mercer, the Iron Demon. I believe I said Man Pondo. It's literally going down in the ring. And then let's get on with it, because we got everybody from Misery. Misery has been added to the motherfucking tour. That's a Psychopathic OG right there.
Definitely.
We got Buckshot straight out of the Ville of Louisville. He's going to be up in the house performing. How about from Detroit, the master of some fucking whole new form of dark arts? I'm talking about Big Hoodoo. He's going to be performing live on this. We got the one and only Native Warrior, Anybody Killer, ABK, has been added to the show, which is fucking bananas. The man that was the original guy that stepped up to be a part of this Rasslerap Charity Tour to benefit St. John's Children's Hospital, my brother and yours, one half of the Axe Murder Boys, and 100% Young Wicked. He's going to be ripping it. And you know his record is hot fire. I recommend everybody, please, check that shit out, whether you have had an opinion in the past, whether you're on the fence, whether you don't know. Man, Young Wicked has got the flow, he's got the production, he's got the beats, and he's a fresh to death homie of mine, and I'm honored to once again, roll down these roads, these highways and byways of America with him. Then we got a legend, a true gangster rap legend, a horrorcore icon, a trailblazer in the field. I'm talking about Willie motherfucking D from the Ghetto Boys, man,
Very nice.
which is, I mean, come on. And you touched on it, man. Violent J, first time ever, first time ever will be on this tour. And he's holding it down, and if his brother Shaggy Tudo is derailed with surgery, then his other brother, Rob, a.k.a. Jumpsteady, is going to step in, be his hype man for this special Violent J solo performance. That alone, all this flavor I just described to you motherfuckers is $15 in advance, $18 at the door. You can buy tickets at hatchetgear.com. You can also buy packages. You know what I'm saying? There's the full range of packages, which ranges from everything from a rare special edition shirt, which is available only for supporters of this tour. Right. I'm not a dick because I gave to the sick, as you know, is what it's ascribed with.
Right.
That's a main part of that elf package. You move up a level on the packages, and you could be a lumberjack in one of the big matches that's going down, as well as getting a shirt and other prizes. And then the final tier, the big ball of Santa Claus, that's a meet and greet with every performer on the tour. Take a picture, get an autograph, do whatever, and we're doing them after the show. So in other words, see the show, then kick it with us. You don't got to get there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and line up behind the Taco Bell.
Right.
That's how we're doing it. And I'm going to be there. I don't know if I said it. I'll be there too, doing live commentary over the matches and whatever else is needed of your boy KG.
Very nice. And all of those proceeds go to the St. John's Children's Hospital.
Absolutely. The St. John's Children's Hospital out of Illinois. They do great things for sick children, man. And it's the holidays. We all have our good and our bad and our ups and our downs. But, I mean, sick children in the world makes me sad. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that Sugar Slam picked a great charity like this to be benefited this year. And, it starts on December 10th. It ends on December 17th. And along the way, I keep saying it wrong, but we're going to be in Valparaiso. Is that it? Valparaiso?
Valparaiso, yeah.
Valparaiso. That's what people correct me. I don't know. I say Valparaiso, Indiana, at Big Shots, Sauget, Illinois, at Pops, Kokomo, Indiana, on the 12th at the center stage. On the 13th, we're in Columbus at the Newport. Then December 16th, we're in Glen Jean, West Virginia. And then December 17th in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Agora. HatchetGear.com is the place, man. And whether you can support in person or if you live, I got contacted by Jamie Welton out of the UK. He bought a package. He's not even going. He lives in the UK. But since the where the money goes is to the cause, people are coming in from all over the world just buying tickets or buying packages to support. And it's an honor, really, that off the buzz we had and the wave we were riding, just off Young Wicked and JCW and hosted by ICP and live commentary and all that flavor, to have all these artists come out of the woodwork and contact us. You know what I mean? That's what Violent J was talking about last night. To be hit up by Willie D, to be hit up by ABK and Hoodoo and everybody that's like, man, I want to be down with this. How can we fucking make this happen? And ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I mean?
For sure. The other question I had for you, somebody, I believe it was Pondo, had mentioned they can bring toys out as well for donating.
Pondo technically is mistaken. Like, we did the toy drive in years past, and this year we just went with a more streamlined approach of and this charity, particularly the St. John's Children's Hospital, I think what they needed primarily was funding. So where in the past it was toy programs for underprivileged kids, we wanted to go to the next level of underprivileged, meaning these kids aren't even privileged to have their health. You know what I mean? So for them and their families, that's our contribution back, and that's brought to you by the most hated band in the world. You know what I mean? Insane Clown Posse, those fucking dicks, those juggalo assholes. You know what I mean? As the outside world would tell you. But here's the reality of it, and we're all going out in the fucking cold and doing what we love for love of the game to give back, and the flavor that will be generated in those rooms, the karma, the experience. Can you imagine being there for Violent J's solo performance right after Willie D from the Ghetto Boys gets off stage, and after you saw Two Tough Tony punch someone in the face with a flaming fist while DJ Clay dropped the beat, and I described shit as it happened? I mean, that sounds pretty crazy to me, dog.
That sounds pretty fresh. So all this is going down December 10th through December 17th. Like KG said, he's going to be there commentating. Man, it's been a great interview with you. I think we're pushing 40 minutes. So.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty dope, man.
I'm sorry, man. I feel like I know you probably had like 8 more questions that I talked over you couldn't even get to.
You know, though, some of my questions were follow-up questions, and you covered the shit in a long response, and I don't mind at all, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to me. You know, Fago Lovers definitely supports what you guys are doing. I look forward to talking with the other wrestlers in the group and finishing this series off. I think we have Weedman coming up, and none other than Rude Boy coming up and remaining in the series. Hopefully we'll get some surprise guests popping up. I don't know if we will or not, but hopefully we do. But yeah, man, it's been great. I appreciate all your insight. Definitely, Juggalos, go out and support this cause. Go out and support the tour. Support KG on his webcast, KevinGillShow.com. Make sure you show love for all of the wrestlers, man. A lot of them are independent artists. They're out there hustling, doing their thing. You know, Crazy Mary Dobson, she's on it doing NXT. She's pushing to get up to the big time. Show them love. Show them support. Like KG said, man, retweet his shit every now and then. I mean, come the fuck on. It's not that hard to hit the button. You know, you go on and watch 15-minute Vine videos and you like stupid shit. Take 2 seconds to push the like button and the retweet. Dude, I appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation. I know it's going to give a lot of our family, and you know we call each other family, the background that maybe they didn't know about you. So thank you for taking time to talk to us, man. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to hopefully talking to you in the future, man, and definitely go out and support the cause. It's going to be the Rasslerap Charity Tour. Check it out if it's in your city, and yeah, go show that love. Anything else you got to say to the family, man?
Yeah, I would just say thank you, man, and much clown love to the whole family. I only get to do what I do because of the love and support of you guys. So I can never thank you enough. I can never have enough respect and props for you. And let's get interactive, man. If you're listening to this interview right now, holler at me on Twitter at OG Kevin Gill or at Kevin Gill Show. You could also hit me on Facebook, facebook.com/KG Kevin Gill, not to be confused with OG Kevin Gill. And then also facebook.com/Kevin Gill Show. But let's get interactive. Let's chop it up. Let's keep it moving forward. And if you're interested in any Kevin Gill Show flavor or even some of this underground New York hardcore music and other related shit that I'm involved with, check out a website called DignifiedBastard.com. That's DIGNIFIEDBASTARD, DignifiedBastard.com. And there's even signed copies of the Backyard Wrestling games on there. There's the newest Bloody Mania DVD. There's some independent projects. There's vinyl record, stickers, shirts, Backyard Wrestling posters from Japan. There's like a lot of obscure flavor on there. So it's Christmas time. Support the scene, baby. Support the underground. Support your boy KG and support FagoLovers.net and support the Juggalos. Support the underground. All we got is us. And every day it feels like there's less good people in the world and more bad people. So let's turn up our light a little bit, man, and let's get some light into these dark corners and fucking let's light up the world like a Christmas tree does at the holiday season, because it is the holiday season and it is the season of the Rasslerap Charity motherfucking Tour Festival Colossal motherfucking Throwdown.
Definitely, man. Once again, I appreciate it, and we look forward to the tour going well. And please let us know how it goes for those of us on the West Coast that aren't going to get to see that flavor. Much love, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Who knows? Maybe we'll have some tour reports for you while we're out there.
That would be super fresh. We'd like to see them. Much love, dude. We'll talk to you later on.
Thanks, brother. Whoop, whoop.
All right. Peace out.
I do this all the time.